Hey everybody. So I feel like most of you know that I've essentially been part of this clan called Winter for a long time now. And I don't think I really delved deep into it whatsoever in any YouTube video at all. Maybe if you knew me and met me in VC, I probably did. But I don't think I ever really did as much as I should have in immortalizing the Dauntless section of that community. So I'm going to do everything I can to celebrate it in this video and delve a little bit deeper into it so people can kind of know what it was all about and what I did in it. So Winter Clan, just from an overarching view, is a massive community. Tens of thousands of people, I think at its peak being 100,000 plus people being active all at once. And there was a community spanning various games, big AAA titles to none, right? And it peaked during COVID, as it was essentially the perfect meeting place for people who wanted to meet others who play the same game they did, and in turn also find a way to socialize while playing said game. It was a perfect place to meet a ton of people. And honestly, I still think it's a pretty good place to check if if you want to find some people you kind of want to grow with, especially since it's definitely one of those places that's known for having more casuals than highly competitive players. But Winter Clan at one point had this Dauntless section, a section that really has a special place in my heart. And honestly, when I think back on it, it's crazy because I have so many memories from it. It's one of the driving factors as to why I even did trials in the first place. And it's one of the biggest things I have so much pride for because it really felt like we pulled ourselves from the depths of the darkness of a completely dogshit perspective when it came to reputation to something more of a mythical legend or something that really hasn't been explored. I'll give my perspective, right? I was in a dark place, not good mentally, kind of immature. Still working my way through my formative years, trying to find ways to improve, trying to meet new people, trying to meet good people. But unfortunately, stuck with incredibly toxic individuals. In time, I found myself bumping into WinterClan, but just by hearsay. A lot of these guys were shit talking the living crap out of it, saying "Oh, this place is where breeding grounds of casuals kind of just burn up and die or something like this. All these people are kind of garbage human beings." It's like, what the heck, man? Why is there so much hate going on over to this random community that kind of seemed like it sprouted up from the ground? And it's interesting because, I don't know, it piqued my curiosity. Didn't think it would, but it did because the more hatred people spewed, the more vitriol, right? People kind of brought to the table when it came to this random clan that they cared so much about. I felt like, is it really that bad? Is it that bad? I don't know. Let's see for myself, right? I pop in there and I'm expecting something that wasn't essentially to the norm, right? But all of a sudden, I was met by this incredibly kind fellow from Egypt who was the most welcoming, morally good person I met at the time that I found online, and he just emanated kindness. It was amazing, especially as someone who kind of lost hope on the idea of finding genuine people. To find him kind of just come out of nowhere and actually express it in a way where it didn't feel fake at all. It just felt like a warm hug. Welcome to Winter, man. Wanted to get to know me, wanted to get an idea of who I was and what I hoped to get from joining community, and just it was nice. It was professional, it was kind, personable, and most importantly, welcoming. It was beautiful. And what's funny is that many people followed suit on that same theme. Kind, generous individuals putting themselves out there, seemingly just, vulnerable, but they stuck together. They they had this amazing system where they'd weed out the toxic garbage and create a community that was truly focused on ensuring that people had a great time and the vibe was immaculate. I remember coming to this place and I was like, what the fuck? Like, why, why are these guys getting absolutely shit on to the next dimension? It doesn't make any sense. I felt so bad for these guys because like people are out there in the community on Reddit even being like, "Oh, never join Winter. It's so bad in there. It's so garbage." But in reality, people are freaking missing out on some next gen legendary community that I feel like only comes up once in a blue moon type of deal. You know what I mean? But it was incredible, you know? The foundation Winter was built on is actually something that existed ever since the 1990s. Can you believe it? A whole structure where multiple games had various layers of leadership, corporate style, and that may seem like a drawback, but actually it worked really well. The section of Dauntless had structure, events laid out pretty much every day, ranging from random wacky stuff to try hard stuff to really innovative stuff where people could legitimately play a game within a game. And it was a fun time because people were actually into it. They'd revolve their schedules around certain events. They'd make it to the events, and people were just constantly. The influx of people was constant. New people coming in, trying out the events, meeting new people, having a great time, further building the community, weeding out the garbage, weeding out the toxic people, but also ensuring that the vibe was constantly as best as it possibly and humanly could be. It was an incredible flow. And we had frickin' like events ranging from a simple sub 3 back in the day, right? Sub 3 trials, helping each other with sub 3 trials to um, some game mode called heads or tails. And it's like two teams of two and a group of four, right? And they're competing of who can get the most heads or tails in an escalation. And it's like this actually got pretty competitive and actually had people focus on understanding how to part focus stuff and get them a little bit better on that. And various different cool little game modes. It was awesome, man. And they also had a bot, right? This founder guy named Freesius, he programmed a bot that made it so all of this could work automated. It was great. You just put in a command, join the event, boom. They even had a website, right? The website was fucking awesome. Looks great, sounds great, really modern, and pretty intuitive, I would say. It had a slew of different functions back in the day. Not as crazy as it is now, but at the time it was like, damn, nobody else does this. This is kind of crazy. It's kind of cool to be part of this place. And yeah, it's cool because the leaders were also personable. They'd have like massive events that would span across all games, but not really on the games themselves. It kind of be like, oh, we're gonna do a movie night or a karaoke night, or we're gonna do this big get together where we're just gonna have like a show and tell thing. And it was a really big social beacon, I feel like, this community. But it's crazy once again. I'm gonna go back, right? Um, to what I originally was saying about the Dauntless section is that it was just dog shitted on. I feel like I've told this story many times, but it's essentially one of the reasons why I pushed so hard to be as prominent as I was in the competitive trials scene. It was because it wasn't fair for these guys to be so down in the gutter. I feel like what I could have given them was respect, prestige, something more than, you know, a horrible light to be shone upon across the entire world, essentially, is what it felt like at the time. And I feel like I know a lot of you guys know how that ended up being. Got a few world records, pretty good. Top fives, top ones. Brought some people from Winter, got them top fives, top ones. Especially at one of Dauntless's most competitive eras. It was awesome. Really great experience, honestly. Yeah. It was amazing to see Winter's rise. I love thinking about and reminiscing about back then in Winter because we really had a good team of people who managed the place. Leadership, right? It was really hard to be able to filter people out. We even had meetings, right? We had meetings every Sunday. We'd meet up. We'd uh we'd essentially just go over the attendance, go over how we're doing, how we can advertise more, um, literally editing and working on the guild advertisement we'd post on Reddit, like the massive Winter Clan guild recruitment post, and make it better, how we can ensure the community was built for longevity and just go super freaking deep, man. The leadership was kind of elite, and we worked really hard at making sure the community was the way it was. And I honestly, aside from the trials thing, I went really deep in the creative game modes, honestly. I created insane freaking multi-layered ultra depth game modes. Like I'll go deeper in like other videos, but I made card games that had like 500 to 1,000 different card functions, kind of like making my own Magic the Gathering within Dauntless. People created like RPGs and shit within this game. Even there was even a horror game mode. There was like two horror game modes that was actually really fun to play, and I'd love to show at some point down the line. And it was just awesome because it really expanded the experience of Dauntless to a more social elevation than just the game itself. And I really don't feel like any other guild or any other clan has ever done this level of creativity, honestly. I mean, just the fact that I created a Magic the Gathering with a Dauntless, I'll delve more into that. It's awesome. Um, but yeah, it's thinking back on it, it's kind of cool too because not gonna lie, Winter Clan had a massive roster. I think back on how many people we even had to filter and at one point had at its peak. It had to be close to 1,000. There were like 1,000 like potential like just people just fucking interacting. Maybe not necessarily joining events, but just being in the chats. Even VCing. Like you know what's crazy? We held escalation events where when an escalation released, all of the Dauntless leadership would essentially account for a massive window of time, like a few hours, and we'd do escalations for 24 hours straight because there were so many people who want to do escas, right? Especially when they came out and they were looking for groups. One a leadership would just organize across like the span of however whatever time slot they had within the 24 hours, and just manage all that and just have a great time playing like for like 6 hours straight, 4 hours straight at times, depending on how many leadership was able to do it. It was awesome. Of course, we kind of maxed out the escalations pretty fast, but it made for some incredibly memorable moments. We just had a great time grinding. Everyone's freaking out, being like, "Oh my God, that's so sick! Look at Agaris! Look at that massive tree! Tree not really that hard, but look at that massive tree!" And it's like people kind of freaking out over all the new stuff and taking and appreciating all the little details here and there, kind of like breathing in the magic that Phoenix Labs initially had for the game. It was great. Honestly, Winter Clan, I wish it was still around, especially specifically the Dauntless section. Winter Clan's still around, by the way. It's just the Dauntless section is long gone, and I miss it. I miss it deeply. Reminisce about it quite a bit. Met so many good people through there, so many great people. Not gonna lie, like I said, it was main driving factor of me pushing so hard. I'd like to delve a little bit more into the game modes at some point, like in the next few episodes of the celebrating Dauntless thing. I feel like a lot of people would kind of maybe hopefully get some inspiration or insight as to what little creative things we and I was able to do. But Winter Clan was one hell of a community. My gosh. People from all around the world. People from all around the world congregated and just played Dauntless and had a great time. And despite the world going to shit during COVID, people would ignore it for however many hours they played and treat it like, this was their life for a bit. Magical. Absolutely magical. It was honestly the best social experience I think I have. No, best social experience, period, I've ever had in the online. It truly was the peak or like the pinnacle of what a community slash guild should be. We worked really hard, and I'm so proud of everybody who participated in making Winter Dauntless the community it was, and essentially, just making it as fun as it was for all the people who came in. I know I'm ranting. I feel like I'm just missing it and like all the nostalgia and all that, but I guess this is all what it's all about, right? Celebrating Dauntless and all that. Winter Clan being so mysterious, I feel like to a lot of people who follow me, or at least a lot of people who didn't really know it. I honestly feel like Winter Clan would have been really cool to see in the Gauntlet section because we had so many people who were just actively playing the game. I really want to see how fast we would have been able to blast through all those rounds, especially at like to the end, because we actually had enough people to actually just blast through them in like, I don't know, much less I feel like than nowadays. I mean, that's theoretical, right? I'm not sure 100%, but I mean, we had almost 1,000 guys who were just fucking going crazy, people from all around going wild, playing Gauntlet. We actually had like scheduled events so people would show up, type of deal. And I mean, at the time we also had like some of the most elite guys, so you know, would have been competitive last round regardless. But I really wanted to see the speed. I wish there was a way to bring that back, but honestly, I don't think as everybody's kind of went on with their own different path of life, we would actually want to even come back. But it's nice imagining how it would have gone. But yeah, I believe that's pretty much it about me celebrating Winter Clan. And I really want to go deeper into the people, especially the people I've met, people I've kind of had the pleasure to hang out with for more than just like an hour or two. I really want to delve into celebrating Dauntless into a way where I could celebrate the people that were with me on my journey, as well as like the people who affected me on my journey as well, like 30 or even Helltrix, or some people who I never really had the chance to truly meet, but I always looked up to greatly. But anyways, that was the little episode on Winter Clan Dauntless. Honestly, I'd honestly love to open the suggestions to any of you. If you want to ask me anything on what you want me to talk about or like go over in regard to Dauntless and just immortalize it in a video, I totally could. So feel free to comment if any of you ever have an idea that you'd want me to touch on. I'd love to, honestly. I feel like it's just going to be a lot of me just talking about a ton of stuff. I mean, going deep, hopefully providing insight and understanding to things that people otherwise, would never know. And hopefully my articulation is good enough for people to really get a deep idea of the stuff I'm talking about and the subjects I bring to the table. So once again, everybody, I really appreciate y'all taking the time to listen to me rant about whatever the hell. And I hope every single one of you has an amazing day. Take care, my friends, and good night.